All right, what's up, guys? We're gonna get right into it. So this video should be pretty quick. Just want to talk about pricing in regards to the Dillard's contract that I had, the furniture delivery contract. So this is probably one of the most difficult topics, especially in this line of work, because everyone has different answers. This is just my belief based on my experience. There is no right answer when it comes to pricing. It comes down to each individual and your individual business. So every business is different. So there's so many variables. I'm not gonna go through every variable, but obviously someone that has a box truck is going to charge more than someone that has a cargo van. Someone that has a Ford Connect is going to charge less than someone that has a cargo van. There's so many variables to this. So anyways, that's not what this is about. I'll kind of talk about that toward the end, but I just want to talk about the Dillard's contract and pricing in general. So the contract that I had, that company, Dillard's, they had a third-party delivery service, which used box trucks to do the delivery, and they had a flat rate price. The flat rate price was $169. So it did not matter if the customer purchased one piece of furniture or 5 pieces of furniture. The price was $169. That was the delivery fee. More than likely, the flat rate covered the driver and the helper, and the driver and the helper were more than likely a 9-to-5 employee, W-2. So they probably had a salary or hourly rate. I don't know what the rate is, but probably like around $20 an hour, something like that. So that's why they can do the flat rate $169. That was an option for me, but I chose not to do that because I don't run my business like that. There's too many variables to each delivery. So one house might have stairs, the other house doesn't. One customer might buy one item, another customer might buy 5 items. One customer might have a really, really heavy, credenza and dresser and all kind of heavy stuff, and someone else might have bought just a coffee table. So I'm not going to price it just a flat rate $169. That's not going to work. So I have to analyze each job based on the number of items, how much the item weighs, how far we have to drive, how difficult the delivery is, do we have to go upstairs, anything like that. And then I give them a price based on that. So I'm just going to give you an example. This is one job, and I'm just going to give you one. This is a real job that was given to Rossnell and Reliable Randy, the helper. So in this job, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can see kind of self-explanatory. The total that the customer paid was $290. I believe on this job, I originally asked for $330. We settled on $290. So I will negotiate or allow a customer to negotiate with me on pricing. Typically, I start a little higher than what I really want. And I give myself that leeway because I don't want to lose a customer, especially over a couple dollars. If I say $330 and they say $130, that's not going to work. But $290 from $330 or $320, I can work with that. And like I said, typically I start a little higher than what I wanted anyways. So on this job, that's what we settled on. This customer bought 3 pieces of furniture. As you can see down here at the bottom is 2 large credenzas. Those are pretty heavy. And then 1 king mattress. There's 1 flight of stairs, and the driver is going to pick up from 2 different stores, but these stores are pretty close. They're like 10 miles apart. And then the customer lives in the area, general area. So not a lot of miles, probably like 25 miles total. All right. So in this job, Rossnell, who has a box truck, is the driver. His pay is down here. I always let the driver know what their pay is. His pay is $210. And the helper is $80. This is way more than what you will get on any gig app. No gig app is going to pay you like this for this type of delivery, 3 items. The wrong answer, if you're pricing jobs and you're not making a profit, then you're not pricing right. If you are making a profit, then you're on the right track, but there's no right answer. So I'm going to explain that at the end. So for this job, typically a job like this, where 2 pickups and 1 drop off, it's going to take a minimum of 2 hours, at most 3 hours. So, this is for the driver. This is about $100 an hour if it takes 2 hours, which I think is very fair pay. And then for the helper doesn't have to go to the pickup. They just go to the drop off. So he's driving a Toyota Prius. He's just driving there. He's helping unload 3 items. That's it. So literally like 15, 20 minutes of his time, he's going to make $80. That is great pay. On a gig app, you'll probably get like 25 to $30. So, again, I try to price so that it's fair for both the driver and the helper, but it's also a reasonable price for the customer. I don't charge an amount that I'm not willing to pay. So if this was me, if I'm the customer and I bought these 3 items, I'm paying for delivery, I'm going to charge a fair price, a price that I'm willing to pay myself. If I'm not willing to pay, if I charge $400 and myself, I'm thinking like that is way too high. I'm not paying $400 to have this delivered. I don't price like that. So some people do. Some people will price extremely high. But everyone has their reasons. It's so much that goes into it. You really pretty much need to stay out of other people's business. People charge the way they want. That has nothing to do with you. You charge how you feel, and someone else can charge how they feel. That's just how it is. All right. So So this is one of the credenzas. Most of these are pretty heavy. A lot of these, the drawers will come out, which makes it a little easier. And then also you can take the feet off, and that's what they did. They took the feet off, a couple screws. This one had to go upstairs. So the one that had to go upstairs, I do account for stairs. So typically it's going to be a little higher. I'll usually charge around $25 per flight. So this customer had a spiral staircase. This is the other credenza. This is from the other mall. So this credenza they picked up from North Star Mall, and then Rolling Oaks is the other mall. It's about 10 miles away. And it was this and a mattress, a king size mattress. Both of these went downstairs. So this is an easy delivery, especially with a box truck with a lift gate. You got your dolly, you just roll it in the house. This is the spiral staircase. So they did have to use a shoulder dolly to take it up. They took the feet off so that it's easier to carry. You put the shoulder dolly underneath and carry it upstairs. That is labor. So I do account for that. Oh, we got to go upstairs and we have to actually carry it. We can't use like a dolly or anything like that. So I do account for labor as well. So that's what's included in the price. All right. So once they got it up there, they take a photo, got it delivered. And this is the most important part. We got the job done. And I believe the driver was paid fairly. This job, I believe it took about 2 hours. Even if it took 3 hours, the driver's going to make about $70 an hour at 3 hours. It's $100 an hour at 2 hours. That's fair pay. And then this is the king size mattress. This was a really big house, really wealthy community, but easy delivery. All right. So one thing I want to highlight is that this contract was under my business. This is my business name. So all of the jobs are booked under my business. So these prices represent my business. So if another contractor does the job, okay, they have to accept the rate that I gave the customer. This is not a name your price situation. So there are times where another contractor is a name your price. So if there's a job I can't do, say I have a customer that I can't help, I'm out of town, and I refer them to another driver, I will put that job out. I'll let them know about it, and I'll ask, what is your rate? What is your price? And I'll let the customer know this price does not reflect my business. This is a totally different company. In this situation, all these customers are being funneled through my business. So these are these jobs, the pricing, everything is a representation of my business. These are my prices. So the driver, the helper have to accept that rate. If they don't accept that rate, they want more, then we can't do business, right? I'm not going to raise the price to what they want. And mainly for that reason, because this is a representation of my business. So once I book the job and I send the job to them, the customer is aware that the driver and the helper is not an employee of my business. All we did was coordinate and book the job. That's what we did. And the price represents my business, but they would have to pay the driver and the helper separately. And they don't represent my business. So if they cause a bunch of damage or they're rude or anything like that, that doesn't represent me. And the customers know that. I let them know these are just they're contracted to do this delivery, and that's it. They're not a part of my business. So I will say that every driver and helper that helped me, they weren't always pleased with the price. It's very difficult to please everyone. It's very, very difficult. And everyone has different size vehicles as well. So they have different size vehicles, different needs, different daily expenses. One person might have, $20 of expenses per day. Someone else might have 100. It all, it varies so much. So some people want more than others. And, I can only offer so much, right? So I'll put the job out. And, it's the price is agreed on by the customer. I put the job out and some people say yes, some people say no. There's one person that said yes, pretty much to every job. And I think he understood the value of this opportunity. I think he understood it more than others. And I think that's why he said yes. So there were some jobs I wanted to pay him more. And a lot of times I did. There was a few times that I would come out of the pocket and I would actually pay them. And some people probably wouldn't agree with that, but it's worth it. And I'll kind of explain that at the very end. But this person, I think they saw the vision. They understood how important it was to get these jobs done, and they didn't prioritize the money over the actually doing the job and helping the customer. So that person is none other than Rossell. He did majority of the jobs. He volunteered pretty much for every job, and he was the one that would message me and say, hey man, look, I know it's hard to price this stuff and I know it's hard to please the customer and all that. He's like, I'll help no matter what, as long as I make a little money, I'm good. And I like that attitude, and that's why he made the most money. There's another driver that made this. It's pretty funny, but this is what it looks like. He did all the jobs. He made the most money out of everyone, and I'm really grateful that he was able to help me like that. And like I said, I think he understood the vision. He understood why it was so important to do the job and not focus on the money so much. He was the one that the most reliable. Like he would say yes to pretty much every job, and he did make profits. It wasn't the best sometimes, but it was still a profit, and that's what's important. All right, so just to kind of bring the video to an end, I want to say this. So my business booked all the jobs, did all of the customer negotiation, contract, everything, booked the jobs, pretty much was like the overseer. And then I collaborated with this group, Lightning Fast Carriers. These are independent contractors who have box trucks, cargo vans, and even helpers to do these jobs, right? I subcontracted them just individually, each job individually. So this was the vision. And I think Rosnell saw it very clear, is that I am trying to promote my business, right? My business was selected to do these deliveries. I'm promoting my business to these customers. I'm trying to provide them with the best service, but I can't do it myself. I need help. And so I was able to reach out to these guys, and they assisted me, collaborated with me to help me do these jobs. So I am not only trying to build my business through this contract, but I'm also trying to build this group. Okay. Because I let the customers know this is the group, this is the team that's doing these deliveries. Okay. That's us. And so, this is the part that I think is most important. Everyone is not going to get an opportunity like that. Everyone's not going to have an opportunity to do a closeout delivery sale where you're introduced to literally hundreds of customers within a 2 to 3 month time span. So this was my opportunity to grow and to get my name out there and get the company name out there and get people familiar with the group. So the vision is, it's not all about the money. This is why I was able to negotiate. There's some jobs where I think I did a video where I did a sofa that I got like $110. I could have probably got $150, maybe even more, because we had to do so much to get it in there. But what was most important about that job was not the money. It was great profit. It was still a profit. And I could have turned the customer away and said, nope, sorry, you got to pay. It's $210 or $250 or whatever. I could have did that, but I chose not to. And there's a reason why, because my model, and this is the way I run my business, and everyone won't agree with it, but my model is that I run a faith-based business. I gave my business to God. I allow him to pretty much run it for me. So all the jobs and phone calls and opportunities I get, I know it comes from him. And so when you run a business like that, it's stress-free. I don't have to worry too much about trying to get work, because the work comes to me. And so I wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to get the name out there, because I don't want to help that customer one time. This is not a one-time thing. This is the customer getting introduced to this business that's local and that can help them with pretty much anything, not just a delivery, but moving jobs, labor jobs, all that stuff. And now they know. And so my client list doubled just from that opportunity. Within 3 months, it went from like 100 to like over 200, almost 250 clients now. And out of those 250 clients, out of all the clients that I helped, I can't tell you how many jobs came my way from someone that, hey, you delivered my sofa from Dillard's. Can you help me with this? That's what that brought to me. And so that was the vision. That's more important than the money that I'm making each job. The marketing, that's it. The marketing part of it is more important. So I just kind of want to give an example. It's very similar to a food product. We go into Costco and they have food, and you could try a sample for free, right? You get the person to try it. If you like it, a lot of times the person will go and buy that product. Okay. That's the whole idea. You want them to get introduced to it and then get them addicted to it. And then they use it. They go buy it. Right. That's the whole idea. You can do that in this type of work. So you don't have to make a huge profit from that job. If you can hook that customer, right, get to know them, reel them in, and then from here on out, they use you. That's more important than helping them one time and trying to make as much money as you can off of them, and then they never call you back. So that's the vision. And I think Rosnell understood that. He knew how important it was to help these customers and to have a little bit of leeway, and let's do the job and get it done. Even though we may not have made the profit that we wanted, but that's another client added to the list. So that is extremely important in this type of work and the type of business that I'm running. And it's very similar. Like, I literally could do a job for free. I could literally help somebody for free. I could say, you know what, to deliver this sofa, it's $125. I'm going to do it for free. All I want you to do, I'm going to give you a stack of 20 business cards, and I would like you to hand these out and give me a review. That is so valuable. And a lot of people would think that's silly, that's crazy, but it's not. Because like I said, I'm not in a situation where I have to make, $200 every job I do. I'm in a great financial situation. I'm trying to grow my business. And if I charge one customer $150 to deliver their sofa, and I won't move from that price, they're never going to call me again. They'll let me do it. They'll pay me, but they'll never call me again. If I help a customer and I do it for free, I say, this is 100% free, ma'am. This is on us, on the house. All I want you to do here, take this stack, take it to work, give it to your friends, your family, your neighbors. Let them know how we did. Let them know we can help them with anything. We have the best prices. People, I'm telling you, you don't know how valuable that is. The whole key to this is marketing. This was a huge marketing operation. That's how I looked at it. It wasn't a huge money grab. It was a marketing opportunity, not just for me, but for this team, this group. So in closing, when it comes to pricing, people ask me all the time, how should I price? Some people say, like, what should I charge for this? What should I charge for that? I can't answer that question. That's really, really hard. Everyone values jobs differently. So somebody will deliver a refrigerator for $75 and somebody else will deliver the same refrigerator for $100 and somebody else will deliver one for $125. Everyone's different and their pricing is based on many variables. So I don't have a lot of expenses. My daily expenses is about $30 a day. That's gas, insurance, and maintenance. Okay, that's the three main, unless you have an electric van, that's the main expenses you're going to have daily. There are other expenses, but they're optional. So like my expenses, I pay for an accounting service, right? I don't have to pay for that. I pay for a reg service, right? I don't have to have that. You could do that yourself. So those are optional expenses, but the mandatory expenses, I mean, I'm sitting at around $30. So after I complete my first job, let's say I do a job and it paid $80, right? So I made $50 in profit. Every job I do after that is all profit. So what I think it comes down to is really how much you want to profit. How much do you want to profit per day? So I have a lot of confidence in my strength and ability to deliver heavy things. It's not hard work to me. It's easy work, especially when I have to lift something for a short period of time. So if I make $40 profit, I'm happy, but someone else might want to make $100 profit on the same job. It's really, you can't, there's no right answer. There's really no right answer. The only thing is you need to make a profit. Now, how much profit you want to make, that's up to you. That's totally up to you. And I think that's the variable in pricing. You know, some people need to make a bigger profit because they have more expenses. They might have multiple vehicles. They might have more bills than I have. They might have a mortgage, a $3,000 mortgage, you know, compared to someone that has $1,000 mortgage. It's so many variables. So when it comes to pricing, you just have to do what your heart says. Do what's fair and right. And like I said, I can't give you a number. That number is up to you. So I'm going to end with this. This is just kind of an example. And this is the morals and values of my business. This is how I run my business. If I have a neighbor and let's say she's elderly, she's in her 80s and her husband passed away not too long ago. And she knocks on my door and says, can you help me clear my garage out? She's got some furniture in there. She's got a treadmill, a couple boxes, stuff like that. It's a job. It's going to take about an hour to clear her garage out. She said, I have to take everything out the garage and put it to the curb or something like that. So could I charge her? Could I say, well, you got to pay me $100 to do all that? And is that right? Yeah. I should be paid for that labor. I should be paid for it. That's from a business perspective. Okay. Or if she says, I don't have $100, I only got $20 that I can give you right now. Would you do the job or would you not? And this is my honest answer. Absolutely. Without a doubt. I would do it because the help that I provide, just me helping her in her time of need, is more important than the money. I'm not going to tell her, no, go find somebody else because she can't pay me $100. That's not how I run my business. So I'm not saying that cheat yourself and be cheap on every job. It's not about being cheap, right? But I'm just giving you a scenario. In that situation, absolutely not. I don't have that mindset. It's the fact that I helped this person is more important than the money that I made. And that's kind of how I run my business. The ultimate goal is to help the person. The person needs help with this delivery. They just bought some furniture and they need help. That's why they're reaching out to you. And I'm not going to let a couple dollars separate me from helping this person and then growing another client, because that is the value. That's the value in it. So there was a lot of jobs that paid very well. And there were some jobs I had to negotiate and I didn't get totally what I wanted, but I still made a profit. It still was a good price. We got the job done. We promoted the business. We helped the person and they're satisfied. And I added them to my client list. And I can't tell you how many people have come back. So that's just the way I run my business. I think that you really have to love what you're doing. You have to love this business. You have to love what you're doing. You have to love doing deliveries. You have to love helping people. If you're doing this just for the money and not for actually helping people, to me, I don't understand. That's like a cop saying, you know, I'm doing this job just for the money. I don't care about people. I don't care about helping nobody. I'm just trying to collect a paycheck. Like, that doesn't sound right. I'm gonna end with this. Just like the example I gave you with the neighbor, right? That's a personal thing, right? I'm not using that as like, that's how you run your business. I'm just saying that's my mindset as a person, just helping other people. To me, that's more important than the money. But when it comes to business, right, you can't help everyone. There are some people that will take advantage of you. Like, if someone calls my business and says, hey, I'm getting evicted and I don't have any money. I don't have a lot of money. I have, you know, $100. Can you help me move? You know, in that situation, that's different. That's very different than someone that went to Dillard's and spent $3,000 on furniture and they don't want to pay $275 or $375 for the delivery fee. That's two different scenarios. So yes, having compassion on people that legitimately deserve it, in a stressful situation like that, they're getting evicted or whatever, and they're asking for help. That's different. That's totally different. And that's a moral thing. Like, you don't have to help them, but my business, I would definitely consider it. I would consider it. Because at the end of the day, it's about helping people, you know, in need. It's not all about money. At least that's for me. It's not all about money. And I trust my CEO. I trust that he will provide for me. He will reward me for things like that, for having a generous heart and for having the right values. And I can attest to that. He's done it many times. But anyways, it was a great experience. I'm honored to have been able to do that. It definitely opened the door to not just the learning curve of the business, but also an opportunity for me to do that again, like to actually work for a furniture store and to be able to put that on my resume and present that to a furniture store and maybe permanently do deliveries. I don't know. That's something that I could consider. But anyways, I'll have more info on that a little later. I did come to a conclusion about how I'm going to proceed with my business. This was a great learning experience. So anyway, I think that's it for now. Hopefully you guys get the idea, but I just want to let you know how I price everything based on my business, not on a, name your price situation. So all the prices represented my business. We took care of a ton of customers. I built a huge client list, which not only my business is going to benefit from, but the people that help me is going to benefit as well, because I will be kicking jobs to them and they'll be helping me on those jobs because they help grow that list. So anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.